always from the heart of the city, and now on demand 24/7 on the CHFI website. This is more of the soundtrack to what you can do with the magical May Do. And I'm Don Jackson, with Lovers and Other Strangers Online. If Mother Nature patches the leaves of trees and vines, I'm sure she does her darning with the needles of the pines. They are so long and slender, and somewhere in full view, she has her threads of cobwebs, and her thimble made of dew. The words of W.H. Payne. And Rabindranath Tagore in Gitanjali wrote, "The smile that flickers on baby's lips when he sleeps. Does anybody know where it was born? Yes, there is a rumor that a young pale beam of a crescent moon touched the edge of a vanishing autumn cloud, and there the smile was first born in the dream of a dew-washed morning. The smile that flickers on baby's lips when he sleeps. The magical, mystical dew of a May morning for lovers and other strangers. From CHFI.com. Lovers and Other Strangers online and on demand, and a blog as well at CHFI.com. Can't stop loving you, Over the Rainbow, and What a Wonderful World. The ultimate source of the Susquehanna River was a meadow in which nothing happened. No cattle, no mysteriously gushing water, merely the slow accumulation of moisture from many unseen and unimportant sources. The gathering of dew, so to speak. The beginning, the unspectacular congregation of nothingness. The origin of purpose. And where the moisture stood, sharp rays of sunlight reflected back until the whole area seemed golden and hallowed, as if life itself were beginning here. This is how everything begins. Oceans, mountains, life itself. A slow accumulation. The gathering together of meaning. James A. Michener in Chesapeake, published by Random House. A gathering together of meaning and magic this hour in the morning dew with lovers and other strangers. From CHFI.com. Lovers and Other Strangers online and on demand, and now a blog as well at CHFI.com. Billy Joel on a River of Dreams and the Righteous Brothers with an Unchained melody. This is an excerpt from the 1977 edition of the Friendship Book of Francis Gay, published by D.C. Thompson and Company. Gay writes, and I quote, "Last year, I had the privilege of walking through a beautiful garden with a friend, an elderly Methodist minister. As we were enjoying the peaceful scene in the early morning sunshine, with small white clouds skimming across the sky, he said to me, 'You know, I've learned through the years of my life and my ministry that most of the silent things in nature have great strength. The sunshine is noiseless, but what power and energy it has. The clouds are quiet too, but look what they do for us. The dew makes not a sound, but think how it sustains all these lovely flowers. It's the same with people. As I have moved from place to place, my most faithful friends have been the people who did not make a great fuss of me on my arrival, but stood quietly in the background. They were always the ones that I could rely on to give me strength when I needed most. Unquote, an excerpt from the 1977 edition of the Friendship Book of Francis Gay, published by D.C. Thompson and Company. Lovers and Other Strangers, from CHFI.com. Lovers and Other Strangers, whenever you need something for your soul, from CHFI.com. Thanks for listening to Lovers and Other Strangers, online and on demand at CHFI.com. Van Morrison with A Brown-Eyed Girl, Toni Braxton and Breathe Again, and Bill Withers and Lean on Me. Rupert Brooke, in his poem The Great Lover, spoke of sleep and high places, footprints in the dew. And a biographer writing about Sitting Bull, the great Native American chieftain, and featured in the collection Best of Nature Quotations, edited by Dalton Exley and published by Exley Gift Books, said, "A love for his native soil, wholly mystical. He used to say that healthy feet can hear the very heart of holy earth. Up always before dawn, he liked to bathe his bare feet, walking about in the morning dew." Unquote. How many of us in summer have bathed our feet in the morning dew and never thought anything more than the simple tactile pleasure of the wet grass? This Native American chief believed he could feel the heartbeat of the earth through his bare feet. And there may be something to it. Any rumblings below the surface might be felt walking barefoot when this world is waking up from its slumbers. Rabindranath Tagore wrote, "Let your life lightly dance on the edges of time, like dew on the tip of a leaf." Lovers and Other Strangers, from CHFI.com. Lovers and Other Strangers at CHFI.com. Justin Hines and I Wish You Well, and Percy Sledge, When a Man Loves a Woman. In the Berkeley science fiction classic by Frank Herbert, Dune, spice meant something completely different than it does here on Earth. It was an extremely addictive substance that left a telltale mark on the user: eyes that were an intense color. There was only one world where the spice was mined, a desert world where water meant wealth, a place where water was so precious that even the dew had to be gathered. In a part of this world where the sun holds dominion comes this fable. It's an excerpt from the Canadian bestseller When Lovers Are Friends by Merle Shane, a Bantam Skylark book published in 1978. Shane wrote, and I quote, "There is a Buddhist fable written over 2,000 years ago by the Buddha himself, some say, about a beautiful young elephant who lived in the forest near Benares. She was as white as crane's down, according to the legend, and her size and strength were so great that the men who captured her gave her as a present to the king. The king entrusted her to his elephant trainers to be taught to stand firm and to follow commands. But the trainers were harsh with her and beat her with their elephant goads. And one day, maddened by pain, she broke free of them and escaped. She ran as fast as she could for many days, traveling as far into the Himalayan mountains as she could go, until she outdistanced all the king's men who were chasing her. And in time, they all went home, and she was free. But she still raced on. And although time passed, she did not reduce her pace or forget for a moment that she had been a captive once. Every time a twig snapped or a breath of wind rustled the trees, she dashed off at full speed, thrashing her trunk wildly from side to side. Finally, a compassionate tree sprite could stand her pain no longer and leaned out of a fork in a tree one day and whispered into the elephant's ear, "Do you fear the wind? It only moves the clouds and dries the dew. You ought to look in your mind. It's fear that has captured you." And the minute the wood sprite had spoken, the beautiful elephant realized that she had nothing to fear but the habit of being afraid. And she began to enjoy life again. Merle Shane, from the book When Lovers Are Friends, a Bantam Skylark book. Lovers and Other Strangers, from CHFI.com. Lovers and Other Strangers, from CHFI.com. How sweet I roamed from field to field, and tasted all the summer's pride, till I the Prince of Love beheld, who in the sunny beams did glide. He showed me lilies for my hair, and blushing roses for my brow. He led me through his gardens fair, where all his golden pleasures grow. With sweet May dews my wings were wet, and Phoebus furred my vocal rage. He caught me in his silken net, and shut me in his golden cage. He loves to sit and hear me sing, then laughing sports and plays with me, then stretches out my golden wing, and mocks my loss of liberty. Back in the days when William Blake wrote that poem, some people feared for their very lives. They accepted their fate as prisoners in truly awful conditions and horrendous relationships. There was no avenue for escape. And for those brave souls who did make a run for it, there was no safe place waiting for them. It was a cruel world, and in some ways still is. In that sense, there is no magic strong enough in the May dew to prevent the cruelty of the world. Finally, tonight, there is a creation myth for everything in this world, including the dew. How it originally came to be. As it said in the Enchanted World, Night Creatures, published by the editors of Time Life Books, and I quote, "In Scandinavia, for instance, night was the goddess Nod, riding the skies in a chariot until she disappeared beyond the horizon, forced down by the power of her son, Day. The froth from her horse's mouth fell to the earth as dew." Lovers and Other Strangers from CHFI.com. That concludes this edition of Lovers and Other Strangers, available online and on demand 24/7. My blog is at CHFI.com. Just follow the links on the homepage, and your emails and comments are always welcome and appreciated. You can post them in my blog on the CHFI website. I'd still like to believe you listen at night. If not, you can save this for later. Good night, sweet dreams. I'm Don Jackson.